Hello everyone, welcome to Lang Park, the home of rugby league in Queensland for the grand final of the Queensland Cup. Two very worthy grand finalists have made it through to the big one, but they've made it in contrasting paths. Norths were the minor premiers, and then coming into the semis beat Brothers first up. Then in the major semi 2 weeks ago, they defeated Redcliffe 16 points to 12. So Norths have played just one game in 4 weeks. On the other hand, West have done it the hard way. They lost first up to Redcliffe, but then they've come through beating Gold Coast Brothers, and then last week defeating Redcliffe 27-14. So contrasting ways to get to the grand final, contrasting clubs in many ways, David, but what you've got to say is not much between them.
Definitely not, Warren. It's very hard to pick a winner this afternoon. In actual fact, when I go into these big matches, I like to sit down with both sides and try and pick a composite side, but even doing that, I reckon there'll be 6 of one team and 7 out of the other team, and depending on who you spoke to, it'll be a different 6 or 7. So really, in terms of player talent, nothing between it. And then you get the big match cliches that, you know, defence wins these games. No mistakes. Got to have a good kick-chase game. All these sort of things. Well, there's no mortgage on any of those either. The will to win is there for both sides, but really there's not a great deal between them. The only difference I can see, and it's really what Warren touched on, is that I think Norths will come in a little bit fresher. They've only played 3 games in the last month, or this will be their 3rd game. They've actually had 2 weekends off, and I think that'll be a bit of an advantage to them. On the other hand, West, they've been walking a tightrope. They're going to really find a little bit tough at the end of each half, I think. The interchange is very important. How Wayne Treleaven uses that could just refresh the Panthers a little bit. One thing for sure, it will be a great grand final. The last 2 years have been absolute rippers. 2 years ago, Toowoomba won the inaugural one against Redcliffe, win a fantastic game. And then last year, of course, Redcliffe came home with a wet sail to win the game, actually after the bell. And our co-commentator today was the coach of, unfortunately, the losing side. That was Gavin Payne. But one thing for sure today, it'll go down to the wire. Should be a beauty.
Well, you're right, David. Gavin Payne's still hurting from last year's grand final loss after the bell, as you said. But Gavin, you've been coaching against these two sides through the season. How do you size them up?
Yeah, well, we played both North and West, obviously, twice during the year. I found North probably the stronger of the two sides in the sense that when we played them, they seemed to be a bit more physical. West were physical as well, but possibly a little bit more skillful than the Northern Suburbs side. Interesting to see that North have decided to bring back a couple of their Melbourne players, whereas I read during the week in the paper that West coach Wayne Treleaven has decided to go with the players that he came to the dance with, and therefore not bringing back any of the Adelaide Rams players that played there. Expect a nice torrid forward battle early before the halves can see which set of halves can see who they can get the ball to in the outside backs to take control of the game. Looking forward to a great afternoon of football, and I'll toss a coin. I don't know who to select as a winner today.
Well, there's a great crowd, and they've been very vocal during the early games here. Some exciting football in the early games as well, with Norths represented in all 3 grades today, and the crowd getting right behind the teams. And I'd say that there's good support for both clubs here, both Norths and West. And here come Norths.
Minor premiers, they also won the pre-season, the Devils. They've only got to get one more to get the trifecta. This is the big one. And coached by Mark Murray, who was in the last Norths Premiership winning side in 1980. Long time between drinks. Paul Hubbard is at fullback. Matthew Dux and John Wilshire on the wings. Steve Bell and Matt Geyer, one of the guys who played with Melbourne as recently as last week. They're in the centres. Craig O'Dwyer and Kevy Carmichael. Carmichael captains the side. Mark Prothero at lock forward. Daniel Frame and Andrew Hamilton make up a very strong back row. And talk about strength, they've got it in the front row as well. Wade Fenton and Anthony Bonus, 2 big men there. And Dale Williams is the hooker. The skipper, Kevin Carmichael, and interestingly enough, Kevin Carmichael is the only surviving player from the North side of last year. So there are 12 other players that have been brought in to bolster, and what a way to bolster a side. And certainly it shows some great strength. Dave Liddell, he gets his own poster. He is a bit of a hero out Panthers way, and that's the sort of passion that he plays with.
Now here come the Panthers, and a number of players in this side likely to retire after this, and Craig Bowen with a couple of his boys by the look of it, bringing them out. Certainly the mascots there for the Panthers. Jason Twist comes out, a very important role for him today. His kicking has been superb the last couple of weeks. The red and black streamers Tony Devlin at fullback, Mark Maguire on one wing, Sean Valentine and Craig Smith, strong centre pair. Scott Williamson on the other wing, Craig Bowen, the captain at 5'8", Jason Twist, the halfback, Joel Toohill in at lock forward, Alan Wheeland and Cameron Roper, the second rowers, Rob Campbell, Jason Campbell and David Asplin, the front row. In the warm-up, they were very robust, this West side. And there's Craig Bowen, probably the most experienced player in the side, very skillful player, and he will lead by example. The look of intensity on their faces.
Well, Dave Liddell is actually out there, Warren. I haven't done a head count yet, but they've got the whole squad out there. So that's interesting that they have played with some great teamwork in the latter part of the year, and both teams standing in their respective huddles. Very professional, the North's outfit, under Mark Murray and under the banner of the Melbourne Storm. Actually, their shirts from time to time, Warren, say the Northern Storm. Perhaps a thing to come.
The referee is Tony Maxsood. Let's hope he has a great game. Let's hope the referee gets all the calls right. It's a tough job, and in a grand final, you want the two teams to settle it. I mentioned that West were very robust in their warm-up. It was also noticeable there's quite a lot of tape on a number of the players. They have had to play every week, and so no doubt carrying a few injuries. You would expect that North should be fresh and fully fit.
No doubt about that. The Devils, they have had the red carpet ride into this grand final. They earned it, of course, having been minor premiers and continued to win their two matches they're required to play. They have leapfrogged straight into the grand final. On the other hand, the Panthers have had to fight every inch of the way. They came back from 16-0 down against the Gold Coast about 3 weeks ago. And then they got out of jail against Brothers 2 weeks ago with a try 1 minute from time.
So away we go in the grand final of 1998 in the Queensland Cup. John Wilshere boots it down to Craig Bowen, and Dave Asplin is knocked over, and already an injury for a Norths player. And it looks like O'Dwyer is down hurt, and that is a blow. He's staggering back onside.
Head knock.
Terrible blow if the 5'8" is out of the game early on. He's back on his feet, but extremely groggy. West taking play up towards halfway. Rob Campbell plays it back. Jason Campbell through twist. Alan Wheeland working it towards centre field.
O'Dwyer's been replaced by Tristan Brady-Smith, number 17.
As Cam Roper hits it up for West. Just short of halfway now. The surface looks magnificent, Gavin Payne.
Yeah, good condition of the field. Slight breeze blowing, fully favouring western suburbs at the moment. Nice conditions this afternoon. A bit cloudy, so it shouldn't get too hot for the players. If it's anything like the last two Queensland Cup Grand Finals, it should be a beauty.
Matt Geyer plays it back, and Daniel Frame hits it up. There's half a dozen players who played for the Melbourne Storm this year in action for North today. And we look at the season record, those very impressive, piling on the points. North's the best attacking side in the competition. West the second best, and when you look at defence, well, they're right up there as well. North's fourth best and West fifth best. Fifth tackle for North here as they run it out wide to Wilshere's wing. He drops it on the ground behind, and Bell tries to keep it on the toe. He's just put it over the sideline. A little bit clumsy on the last there, the Devils.
Yeah, Tristan Brady-Smith was first receiver. He elected to run the ball when he actually could have got a kick in and kept the Panthers trapped near their own goal line, but back their ability to run it on that last, it didn't come off.
Dave Asplin leaving the field early as well, so that's a blow for West as David Fuller comes out to replace him.
There's some wounded already showing through, one from each side. Asplin had a lot of trouble with a hip injury 2 weeks ago, so perhaps it's a recurrence of that. The Panthers have put it in through Jason Smith, up to Bowen. Bowen turns it back on the inside to Devlin. Well and truly accommodated there by Matt Geyer and also Mark Prothero. This time Dave Fuller has come on to replace Dave Liddell. Jason Campbell this time up to Joel Toohill. That's the 40-metre line. Running out of dummy half goes Jason Campbell, gets it up to the halfway line and a ball with his steal. They come down the blind side again through Bowen, plays a dummy on the inside, finds Craig Smith there on the outside. That's the last tackle. This is the man to put the ball in the air. Pretty good pick, but it's going to go well and truly deep, and Hubbard ultimately didn't have a lot of pressure on him. I think the best part last week was their ability for their kick chase, and we saw them hurrying through them. But the kick chase just a little bit too deep to put the pressure on the receiver as he was about to catch the ball. Daniel Frame, he's lost that, lost it forward also, and not really sure.
Reset and speed, near 22 metres out. There's another look. He's gone into the tackle and lost that. He's pushing the one man in there at the time. Just puts it in, comes around the base of the front side, back to Barnes. Back on the inside of the country, back to Barnes again. They like that there, Barnes up, halfway through the gap. But just couldn't find Tony Goodwin. That's the other second here, but then couldn't go over. The ball's been stolen. Paul Haberman is the defender of the and the first penalty goes to the Panthers. Interesting to see what they decide. We're taking another look. The tackle's been effective on Goodwin and Hubbard came up with it. Interesting to decide from that. It'll be bringing the field. They're going to play it on. That's the big Bob Campbell. Only 12 metres out now. Panthers are very deliberate. Inside of the field. Joel Kehoe. Pushes on the left. There he is. Throws it down. He's got a Jason Twist, what a tackle.
Now O'Dwyer has a run at it himself. 5 metres out. West defence sorely tested here.
They've come the wrong way, I think.
Carmichael throws the dummy, opens it up for himself, and he's still going close. Carmichael just inches short. 5th tackle now. North right on the attack here, going for it himself, and tackled Dale Williams. Backed himself and failed.
Well, Jason Twist was out on the left wing, still recovering from that tackle he made earlier. And he was really out there on his own, and I believe Norse had terrific 2 opportunities, really, even on that last play, to run it that way. This time, Scott Williamson, a good run. Good young kid, this fellow. Son of Henry, who played with West back in the 70s. Twist now into dummy half. Good work out to Liddell. I think Norse were really expecting that dash down the left there. Into dummy half goes Valentine. Up to Twist. They've lost direction here for a moment. Out to Peter Liddell. Up here to Bowen. And Norse defence up there to crunch them. And really, you've got to play advantage line football. They didn't do it then. This is the last tackle. Up here to Dave Fuller. And he just knocks it downfield. And Paul Hubbard has handled the ball as often as anyone today. Breaks the first tackle. Can he break the second? No.
Forgettable set of 6 there for West. They really didn't organise at all.
No, you've really got to keep the pressure going. Oh, that's forward. That was forward and offside, I think. Well, in a stationary position, I think you should be called for offside. If you're in any way running, I think it's a fair enough a forward pass, and he was being driven back at the same time. So really flat that ball, but certainly a great opportunity now for the Panthers.
Touch judge Robert Irwin giving the referee the nod on the forward pass.
And Tony Maxud's going to call out the trainers. He's not happy with these fellows coming 46. On all the time. Number 46. The trainer looked out. He's I'm not sure what number I'm wearing.
All you're doing is slowing the game down. If you're going to come on and off, you'll be on the sideline rather than on. Okay? Work harder.
Work harder. Jesus, even the trainers are going to be working harder.
That forward pass by North, a let off for West, who've been camped in their own half. Now they have a chance to attack, and Bowen goes out to Valentine. He tries to push off Hubbard halfway through the tackle. O'Dwyer comes from the inside to put him down. Now it's Alan Whelan, well tackled. It's O'Dwyer again from marker. Now Twist inside to Fuller, works his way to the 20. David Liddell takes it to the 10. Rua with the tackle, knocks him down. Out it goes to Twist. Looks inside, Fuller sights a little hole. It closes. Frame got to him. They go left again. It's Bowen with a kick through, pressure on Wiltshire. He takes it well. There's a swarm of Panthers there to put him down in the in goal.
I like the look of West when they get near North's try line. They look to be very well organised. As Warren said, they didn't bring it out of their own territory all that well on the last set of 6, but they look very dangerous near the try line where plenty of players are in motion. And then when you try all your options and don't come up with the money, the little ball into the in-goal area to keep the pressure on is the way to play it.
Gavin, I can see Dave Ashwin about to come back to the touchline, so he's okay.
Yeah, he appears to be okay. Got a bit of a bump in the melon, I think, earlier on. Interesting that West scrambling defence is quite good, but when given an opportunity in the attacking zone, Dave Liddell and the big forwards, they seem to grow an extra leg.
Oh, what a decision. Knocked back there by Craig Smith after a horror of a goal line dropout. Memories of Noel Clear when he missed it altogether. West have got it. Sam Falafi goes so close. Almost intercepted. They must score here. Surely. Twist. Hustling defence there from the Devils. Save the day. Down a blind side. They've got numbers. Campbell fires a pass out to Maguire. All he's got to do is take it and run. He's done it. What a way to do it. The big front rower reads the play. Cut out to his winger. Try time. The wingers might get the points. The front rowers set him up.
Well, certainly you can't argue there. There's no doubt the evidence is in front of us. But Rob Campbell, a beautiful pass. He picked out the right man, and Maguire on the fly judged his run. He didn't overrun the pass. He waited his moment and then hit it beautifully, untouched, over in the corner. But that all stems back to a horror dropout by Melbourne. I think it was Daniel Frame with the kick, which went about 15 metres. West came up with it, and in goes Maguire for a try. And despite the fact that Norths probably have had a slight territorial advantage, it's West who posted 2 tries.
Wasn't a Crusher Cleal, Warren, that night at Sydney Cricket Ground in the mud that night? We tried to do that goal line dropout and had an air swing. Oh, that was the worst goal line dropout I've seen. Now I've seen the second worst. They almost got it back. It was a scrambling effort by Craig Smith, and there was some appeal from the Devils that perhaps the ball had been dragged forward as he tried to pick it up. But the Panthers aren't dwelling on that. It is now their second try, and they've got the minor premiers reeling. It's a long way from over. I'll back North to come right back into this game. Not back them yet to win it, but there's a lot more football in this game. Devlin, deadly accurate, but from that distance out, the angle wasn't appropriate. 10-0 in favour of the Panthers.
Didn't get a good look at the goal line dropout. If it was a knock on, well, West have taken full advantage there. They've only really had 2 opportunities in North's territory. Come up with tries on both occasions. A good read from the big front rower there to get it out to Maguire.
And the restarter plays out on the full. John Wilshire has hooked it over the sideline on the full. That's a very, very poor fundamental mistake by Norths, and West come back to halfway for the penalty.
Occasionally you can blame a strong breeze for once you get it across the breeze it can go out, but you can't really blame it on that occasion. Wilshire angling it across, and it's not the first time that they've flirted with the touchline. Bowen caught one of the kickoffs only about 1.5 metres in earlier in the game, so they have been angling it toward the touchline. Of course, if he could have got it to bounce into touch, it would have been loose head and feed for the Devils. It's nothing like that. It's attack now for the Panthers, 42 metres out.
Midway through the first half, and this could be a pretty crucial set of 6 in the overall context of the match.
Absolutely, it's a golden opportunity for West, because so far Norths have been in the opposition half double the time. West now with a chance to even that figure up and post more points. Peter Liddell gives it to Craig Bowen, cutting across the ruck.
Yeah.
And inside to Smith. Smith gets it out to Williamson. Just 12 metres out. Norths close him down. Williamson dummy half. To Fuller. Wide passing to Twist. Short passes this time to Alan Whelan. Devlin following through. Excellent defence. Fine attack. On the blind side, Campbell looks for another pass to Maguire, and he can't hold it this time. Called forward anyway.
Nearly an action replay. Campbell, another face ball. Maguire got his fingertips to it, but just couldn't handle it. It was just a little bit further out in front of him this time. The idea was right. And as Gavin Payne said, this could have been crucial. Well, it still is crucial. The fact that Norths trail by 10 points instead of 14 means they're still in reasonable touch.
West making North's defence make some decisions on who to tackle with the inside balls. Runners coming at different angles. Very tough on the North's defence there.
And Gavin, West love that crisscross behind the play the ball area where Twist goes from left to right and Bowen goes right to left.
Twist and Bowen, obviously both very good ball players. Hold the ball out in front, make the defence make a decision, and then most times usually pick the right person to put the ball onto his chest.
Dar Williams at dummy half. Up there to Matty Rua. He's always let that one out the back. That went backwards. I think they're a bit fortunate there, the Devils. They'll need every break they can get. Wade Fenton tries to bring it forward. Well, you don't need to start panic passing.
Not on the first and second tackle.
No way. And one bonus pops it up nicely to Kevy Carmichael. Tries to go through. Where you do get into trouble is when you're trying to pass right in the tackle when players have got arms all over you. That's better from Craig Dwyer, although I think he would have looked for a little bit more territory. I don't know whether he was really looking for touch. A little pocket play might have been better there, as the Panthers will just take a few big deep breaths.
North's having a mixed day with the kicking game. A couple of good little grubbers into the in goal, and some ordinary kicks from restarts of play.
And there was one to finish off the set of 6 that perhaps should have had the Panthers trapped further into their territory. Craig Smith. One of the features of the Panthers outfit is the strength of their outside backs. Sam Falafi, who's got plenty of ability to evade players. Dave Liddell this time charges up the middle. Norths haven't really got in there to their power defensive game. Peter Liddell, the little dummy. The 10-metre rule these days allows you to roll it up the field. This is interesting out there to Campbell. Campbell up to Whelan. Tries to break the tackle back on the inside. Beautiful. Valentine Twist on the inside. Jason Twist. Not under the sticks. Yes. Right beside the sticks. Campbell again, so effective to Whelan. Whelan went charging through, back on the inside to Valentine. And Jason Twist, where should a halfback be? Right up the middle on the inside. Jason Twist, number 2.
Well, this is extraordinary. What a change has come over this game. Here's West with these wide passes to stretch the defence. Campbell feeds it to Whelan in half a hole, and brilliant positional play by Valentine. Back inside, read it to perfection, draws the fullback, and away goes Jason Twist, the little halfback, backing up right down the middle, just like Terry Lamb used to do and scored so many tries. But look at this good football by West, and they're really moving this North defence wide.
They are on that inside pass too. You can see Valentine just pointing to Twisty, saying, "You just sit there, mate, I'll get it to you. Just wait and I'll give it to you at the right time." You hear about the second line of defence. Have a look at this for second line of attack. Whelan, the split-second timing there of Valentine. Stood deep, waited for Whelan to do his job because he'd been put into a half a gap by Campbell. And the big front rower is making his mark. And so is the little fellow, 15 tries.
Didn't they do everything just right there, West? The pass from Campbell was dead flat. I don't think it was forward, but it was flat, and that means the defence has to wait and wait and wait, and that put Whelan halfway through the hole. Valentine perfectly positioned, and sometimes when your player comes through to the fullback, they go a little too far or they pass it a little too early, but Valentine got it just right. Didn't allow the fullback to come forward to him and twist over for the try.
Well, the Devils will be shell-shocked. There they are behind the try line. This is like shelling peas for Tony Devlin. And he knocks it over. 16-0 to the underdogs.
West playing a North-style set of 6 there with their wide running back rowers. North often have their second rowers standing wide, running off the front rowers and the halves. On that occasion, it was the big fella Whelan out wide off Campbell. Beautiful in the inside to Twist, and he's over beside the post for a great try. Could be a boil over.
Well, we talk about the Hallison days of West in the mid-70s when they had a great football team in those days. And there was another Twist that used to do a lot of damage. That was Richie Twist. This fellow, I think, is his nephew. And he brings back memories of the rampaging Panthers of the 70s. Twist, 2 tries, but they have knocked it on.
Well, that's exactly what West didn't want. They've got their grip on the game, and they should have been ramming it home. Instead, Bob Campbell here, Rob Campbell as he prefers to be called, takes it forward. And, well, I don't know how that ball came out, but it certainly did. And it's North's ball. Prothero, the blind side, linking up with Hubbard. West should be one team who know all about allowing teams to come from behind, because they have come from behind twice in this semi-final series to win. And conversely, you've seen other teams like Brothers who are in ahead lose games in the semis.
To the extent that the Panthers led 16-0, as I said, in their first, well, they trailed 16-0, I should say. They lead 16-0. That's right. This time up to Hamilton. Can he get his hands free? He does, but they lose it. Picked up by Jason Campbell. He tries to get away, tries to brush out of a tackle. He's lost it. Knocked on by the Panthers. Well, they tried to make the break and go on with it.
I think Jason Campbell tried to hold it back in the end, but it's come out the back, and it was just too quickly upon Williamson to pick it up.
I thought Campbell actually picked the ball up after it come off one of his teammates as well, so that's justice is done.
North's not completing their sets down that attacking end. You know, it'll cause them a lot of problems. Cause them some problems on that occasion. If they don't begin to complete those sets, they're going to give West plenty of ball and plenty of opportunities.
Carmichael plays it, and away goes O'Dwyer, and he's only 9 metres out. So North starting to regather themselves. Up the middle they go with Bonus. Feeds it out the back nicely to O'Dwyer, to Carmichael.
Should have moved it.
Which way will they go here? Ruar comes back towards the post. It's Dale Williams now. He ducks out of a tackle. Hard to put down is Williams. Carmichael the dummy. And they took it. Asplin went through, and then on the inside didn't. 3 metres out. It's Hamilton. He's been dangerous. He tries that pass again, and it's come loose, and it's West away. Up towards the 40-metre mark through Craig Smith. Chased by Matt Geyer. He pushes him away, still going. 30 metres out. Now Geyer comes again and finally finishes off Craig Smith. But North giving away possession when they're on the attack. Here's Twist. Where is the hole? He's wondering where are the runners. There's nobody on that side. They were all on the left. He went the wrong way. Didn't get the call. Now they appear. It's David Liddell thundering for the line. 4 metres out is Liddell. Williamson dummy half. Gives it to Alan Whelan, who's put it down. It was on the fingertips. He was thinking about the pass, thinking about getting it onto the men on his left instead of catching it first.
The intercept by the Panthers really put them in great shape. They should have put the Devils away there, really. Whelan shaking his head, realising one of the best opportunities to really put it beyond, almost beyond doubt.
Gavin said it a moment ago, Norths, when they get into an attacking position, are just taking one too many risks with a pass around the third or fourth tackle when they've already got West in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, they're passing in tackles, but they've still got the ability to go on with the job. Here's Prothero. There's another pass in the tackle to Dale Williams. Pops it up to Carmichael. Do you think they've got to get a little bit more width in their play? They're trying to go up the middle and pass in the tackle. As an actual fact that there's plenty of open spaces out wide. West do play, as most sides do, a fairly stacked defensive pattern. Wade Fenton goes up the middle, breaks out of a couple of tackles, decides not to look for support. All you want's a quick play the ball. They've been reluctant to go right. They go right this time through Williams. Long pass out here to Bell. Bell throws the dummy. Steve Bell, that's the last. High ball would be the order of the day. Up to Dwyer. Back here to Carmichael. Hoists it high in the air. It's almost gone straight up and straight down. Picked up by Hubbard. Tries a little grubber kick. Kick it again, son. Picks it up. Can't go offload. Throws it back. West have got another intercept. West have got another intercept through Maguire. Well done by the winger to be in midfield on the spot. Right place, right time.
At least you've got to say, as you said, David, Hubbard would have been better off kicking it again, but it was a great piece of play by Paul Hubbard, and it was the last tackle, so worth throwing the pass.
Yeah, Norths have had a few chances, but they really haven't finished them off. And
must be 3 or 4 intercepts.
Yeah, and that's because they're really trying to pass in traffic. I don't think they're getting the ball wide enough. Not this time to Dave Fuller. He doesn't pass in traffic. I guess, of course, they don't have to. It is 16-0. Twisters under a bit of pressure, dances around, tries to get away, fires the pass up here to Joel Toohill. Joel gets a good kick away, but can't get it over the head of Paul Hubbard. He does well to take it above his head, skirts across. Here's a chance. Hubbard, can he get through? Great defence in the end by Valentine. Wilshere, Valentine's got him again. Wilshere loses it, was raked out in a two-man tackle, I thought. Yes. Initially, the ref, he was going to allow it to go on. But Touchy suggested there were 2 in there. I think he got it right.
Well, Wilshere in the two-man tackle. Might have been a little hand flicking it out there from Craig Bowen. But a moment earlier, Sean Valentine made what could well have been a try-saving tackle, because when Hubbard brought the kick back, there was big space on the far side of the field. West didn't have the numbers there, and he was very nearly away, except Valentine getting him from behind.
The Devils now, they're still starting to throw silly passes. You don't need that. It's cost them 5 metres. Ricky Paul up to Carmichael. This time, support there from, I think, Rua. Pass up here to Frame. Out here to Guy. Comes back on the inside. Keeps searching right. Guy gets straight to. He should score. Matt Guy. Yes! Under the sticks. The Panthers relaxed. The Devils struck. Matty Guy, he got the pass finally on the outside. When searching back on the inside, the defence was not intense enough. And Guy broke the first line, and the pace there was always going to get into the line.
Matt Guy has been in devastating form in the past month. Been selected in the Melbourne side and played very well. And look at his acceleration here once he gets a chance. Breaks free of a tackle, goes straight between 2, takes off. And they always had a hell of a time stopping him, because he is very, very quick, and he's done it all himself here.
Anthony Bonus, this was the pass out the back to keep it alive. So even though I was critical of that, they've gone on now through Ricky Paul up there to Carmichael. Nice little pass up to keep it alive again. So they were really desperate, realising they need points. The desperation has often led to intercepts, but not on this occasion. Everything finally came off for the Devils. They've been threatening that for quite some time. And Wilshere, the top point scorer in the competition, should have no trouble.
John Wilshere right in front, moves into it and strikes it cleanly between the posts. Though he took a fair piece of the mould that holds the ball as well. It's like knocking the tee as far as the ball in golf. 16-6.
Norths continue to pop the ball out the back, and this time they get a result. Hasn't worked out. It's the way they've played all year, so I guess you stick with what you've been doing well all year. Went through about 6 or 7 sets of hands before finally getting to Guy, in between a couple of reaching, grabbing type tackles there. Found the hole and caught Devlin slightly out of position.
Plenty of unloading by the Norths forwards. One of them was Ryan Gundry. He's only just come on the field a moment earlier. He got a useful pass away in the lead-up. Now here's the Devils in possession. They'll be heartened by getting on the board with that try. And here is Ryan Gundry again. He takes off. Very strong running from Gundry coming off the bench. He's a Perth junior, just 21 years old. Now it's Ricky Paul, and they're going forward. Norths, look at them go now. Pass back on the inside. Dale Williams following well. They've gone 50 metres in a couple of tackles. They go to the right. It's Frame. Halfway through, West defence starting to open up. The pass is unloading and finding the man now. That's the difference. O'Dwyer takes the tackle. Falafi managed to get him. 25 metres out. Paul straightens up. Fifth tackle now. It's Frame. Puts the kick into the in-goal area. Maguire's got it covered, but he's got a lot of running to do to get out. They're coming from everywhere, and they close him down. It's Steve Bell making the tackle. So that is a very impressive set from Norths.
Nice kick, that one from Daniel Frame, because it was from about 15 metres out. It's not that easy to get the right distance on it. Maguire looked for a moment that he was going to get away from the first couple. Then he saw a player coming in from his right and decided he'd better backtrack. And from that point on, he was never going to get out of there. And another chance now for the Devils to perhaps get well back into this match. That ball's going to bounce. No, it's not. Gundry's got a hold of it.
Gundry brings it back. It was a high dropout coming down 30 metres out. Ducks has to run into dummy half. Now it's Bonus. He's strong. He's big. He's tackled by Fuller. 20 out. 16-6. 5 minutes to half time. West's in front, but Prothero here for Norths as they look dangerous once again. He spent plenty of time in the West half in the match so far. Carmichael to Paul. He tries to jump into the tackle and get the pass away at the back. They hold him. Only 10 out though. Carmichael again. Back inside his Frame. Slips it neatly to Williams. Falafi gets hold of him. 1 to go for Norths. Still only 5 metres out. O'Dwyer puts the kick ahead, and well taken there by David Fuller. Really, the kick was just one out for himself.
Yeah, that was a big play, that one. Norths were looking for the second in-goal play and perhaps a bit more pressure. Instead, the West defence held, and they needed to. I had thought that West may struggle toward the end of each half, but that was an important passage of play. They'll enjoy a bit of possession here now to get it away from their own try line.
Still, Gavin, better football by Norths.
Yeah, they controlled those last couple of sets quite well. Would have been another set would have been very hold out there, but West's up to the occasion.
West in possession, 10 short of halfway. Fifth tackle, Jason Campbell to Jason Twist, and wobbly kicks off the side of the boot this time. He didn't hit it well, and Ducks takes it going forward on the burst, but Craig Smith puts him to ground. And time off called.
Matty, you got to go up, buddy. You're bleeding.
Blood bin, Matt Geyer.
Was it Matt Ducks?
And Matt
The
Ducks
other
it
Matthew.
is.
Underneath that headgear. Just on the top of the eye there for Matthew Ducks.
Also a replacement with Fenton on for Bonus.
Think about these two sides. There's not a weakness anywhere, is there, David? Every player knows his job and can do it.
Yeah, very good 17-man squads, both of them, and that's absolutely critical these days. Ricky Paul, who I think is a North junior, one of the few who are out there today, and he's played particularly well off the bench also. North's up very flat to Carmichael. Fades across, looks for support, finds out there to Prothero. Good chance for North with 3 minutes up to half-time. They trail 16-6. Be a whole new ball game if they can add extra points. Williams fires the extra man up there to Frame. Frame back on the inside to Carmichael. Carmichael dodges away from one. Fires the pass up out here to Craig O'Dwyer. Back on the inside to Hamilton. Well read though by Jason Campbell. He shut that down well. Bob Campbell came in to help as well. Pass up there to O'Dwyer. This is the fifth tackle. Looks for the in goal again, but Devlin beautifully positioned to take that ball. It went straight at him. And now the Panthers to bring it out of there from their own try line.
So West just 10 out from their own line and need to be careful here. They wouldn't want to give the ball back to Norths. Norths starting to dominate possession. Whelan in centre field. Alan Whelan stopped. Hasn't really made the impact in the last few weeks that we would expect. I believe he could be carrying a bit of an injury. He's still playing a very solid game of football and a rock, a foundation of the West forwards in many ways. Here's Maguire. 15 short of halfway on the last. Twist looking for a better kick than the last one, and that's it. It's a torpedo, and it's away from Hubbard. It's a good-looking kick, and it's into touch 10 metres out. Where did he kick that one from?
Yeah, it was definitely inside the 40, well inside, so it'll be a very important set of 6 with only 1.5 minutes left on the clock.
A fine reaching torpedo from Twist. He's a little man, but he kicks it a long, long way. He launches himself off the ground as he kicks. He puts everything behind it. The referee is checking it, that it is a 40-20. He's called in his touch judge. Yes, he gives the feed to West. So 1.5 minutes till half-time, and West will pack this scrum with the feed 10 metres out. What a great kick from Twist. And in the end, it may have been well worthwhile Hubbard having a go at it. He thought that he couldn't catch it, but he wasn't sure that it was a 40-20. Allowed it to go into touch. Now fed by Twist. What have they got up their sleeve here, West? It's Bowen running wide, dummying again. Tackled by Bell. Good football by Steve Bell. He didn't fall for any dummies. He just took the man with the ball. Peter Liddell, 20 metres out. Cam Roper stepping back inside. Just 12 metres out is Jason Campbell running left, and he gets it away to Bowen. On to Peter Liddell. Alan Whelan now standing. Couldn't get the pass away. Just a couple of metres out, the Panthers. Twist to Robert Campbell. David Liddell's got it. He flicks the pass over the top, and it's try time. No, it's a forward pass. Craig Smith was over out wide, but the last pass from David Liddell called forward. And what a let off for North just before half-time. That could have been, whoa, well, it's a long way from the end of the game, but, gee, that would have made it difficult to come back. There it is, the pass going forward. Probably not a lot in it, but enough.
Good hands from a big man to get that catch and pass in that short space of time. Unfortunate for West that it just appeared to drift forward slightly. Taking a bit of a battering too, boy. Look at it, the big fella.
Yeah, David Liddell leaving the field as Peter Liddell is cautioned. And North survive, and they now have the scrum feed where we were about a minute ago. And Carmichael takes the tackle. Just 10 seconds left in the first half in the grand final. Matt Guy has a run. Swung to ground by Jason Campbell. Frame. 3 West players converge on him. A half-time siren goes. A half where, if anything, North may have spent, well, pretty much, yeah, in fact they did. They spent more time in the opposition half. 2-1, 10 minutes. North's had in West's half with the ball. West had only 5 minutes in the opposition half, yet West were the ones who put the tries on the board. The all-important tries, and at half-time it's 16-6 in favour of West.
Dogs have got the lead at half-time by 16 points to 6. That's 3 tries to 1. Gav, how have you seen that first half? They probably deserve it because there's been some good tries by the Panthers.
They've taken all their opportunities, David, when they've had those chances down the attacking end. North's probably not coming up with quite so many genuine, real chances down their end.
But they certainly have kept trying the Devils. They're still right in this game, 10 points behind. Let's have a look at statistics from the first half. You can have a look there, the errors slightly against the Panthers, but overall not a great deal in it. The Panthers have had the advantage of the breeze in that first half, and for that reason they've gained more territory. So not a great deal in it. We'll see there, though, time in opposition half. That's interesting. For the time that the Devils have had the ball, they've been in West territory 70% of the time. So it's been really nothing in that first half, but other than the fact that the Panthers, they've got the 3 tries up, and they scored their 3 tries back to back to back. They put them on right from the start, and it was a pretty handy try by the little halfback, Jason Twist. And it just shows you, Gavin, in these sort of situations, you cannot relax for a moment. Twist came across, threw the dummy, saw the opportunity there just out of the corner of his eye, hit the accelerator and got across.
North didn't do too much wrong here, really, David. You know, the markers did what they're supposed to do, one either side, looking perhaps just overread the play a little bit, and Twist right between the pair of them for a good first-up try.
He's so dangerous, Jason Twist, when he's prepared to take his opportunities. Came on the back of a penalty, so the Panthers had got an early try, exactly what they wanted. As we said, they were the underdogs, so it was very important for them to get points on the board. They did that. but they weren't finished by any means at that stage because they forced a goal line dropout. And as I said, we've seen a couple of shockers, and this one goes down in that category. A very poor goal line dropout that was only just regained in the end by Craig Smith. I thought he might have just dragged it forward, but perhaps not. It was certainly loose there for a moment, and that gave the opportunity, because they regained that ball, they were then in a position to go straight back on the attack. And big Bob Campbell, what a pass this one was, out to Mark Maguire. He was just sitting and waiting out there on his touchline, and Bob Campbell did the rest.
North had half a dozen players around that little goal line dropout incident. Campbell out wide, very, very skillful forward, able to read the passes and throw those cut-out passes and pick the right man on that occasion.
Yeah, Campbell read this beautifully. 3 men on his outside, actually, and Maguire was on the end of it. He cut out the other two. Maguire in the corner. So they got a pretty handy lead by 10 points to 0, but still they wanted to go on with the job, and this was the try of the match so far. Again, Bob Campbell involved in it. Pops a pass up beautifully to Alan Whelan, who gets into a half gap, looks back on the inside. Valentine timed his run beautifully, and then Jason Twist back up on the inside. This was a great team try because everybody did exactly what they had to do in the split second they had to do it in, and Twist just sprinting, then eased off, got into position, eased off, as did Valentine to offload the pass. The Panthers had put a hat-trick on.
Lovely flat pass from Campbell here again, through the last pass for the previous try, put a beautiful flat pass onto Whelan's chest. As you say, Valentine beautifully positioned inside, Twist just idles up on the inside, then puts the accelerator down when he gets the ball, and he's over for his second.
Yeah, you've got to admire this try because Twist was the man who gave the ball to Campbell, very flat up to Whelan, and then Valentine. You know, important there, you don't rush things, and that's exactly what Valentine did there. He just took his time. He didn't use his own time by running too hard at the fullback. He just drew Hubbard and then went on to the job. Well, the Devils, the minor premiers, the team that won the pre-season competition, were in all sorts of bother. They pushed a lot of passes. They were having trouble going on with the job. They desperately needed points on the board. And Gavin, to their credit, they finally strung together a few passes and came up with that try to Matty Guy.
Yeah, that's the way they've played all year, David. You know, they popped it out. Well, they popped it, as I said earlier, during the call, probably through 4 or 5 sets of hands. Eventually, Guy just breaks a tackle, finds a gap right in the middle of the field, puts the foot down and runs that 20 metres to get Norse back into the game at that stage.
This is the big fella bonus. He keeps it alive, pushed it out the back. They seem to lose about 10 metres there. Ricky Paul gets it. Carmichael up there to Gundry, and he does well to offload that one. They kept it alive nicely. Out there to ultimately to Guy, and he cuts back on the inside. Really, the Panthers were in a position to make that tackle, but instead Matt Guy got the one they desperately needed. What do you think, Gav? Do you think the Devils can get back into it now? They'll have a breeze in the second half.
Oh, yeah, I think they're too good a side not to make a real contest of it in the second half, David. It's a similar situation to probably last year's grand final, very similar score at half-time, so, you know, anyone can win this match.
They certainly can. Should be a great second half. I'm sure it'll go down to the wire. We'll be back shortly.
An intriguing 4-part series begins.
The story of the ocean liner is an epic saga of one of the great icons of the industrial age. The largest moving object ever built.
So these are tremendous national symbols. They capture the imagination.
But the race for profits and prestige often ended in tragedy and controversy.
The Liners, 6 o'clock tonight on ABC TV. On Australian Story, a man with a mission.
He was a millionaire, but he was 25.
A product of the 80s.
I was sucked into that vortex of greed.
He worked hard for the life he leads.
Here's a guy that is so disciplined.
But it's not all been paradise, and he wants others to share his riches.
The trick is, not too close and not too far away.
That's Australian Story, 8:30 Thursday.
Welcome back to Lang Park, and a great grand final building up here. No doubt that Norths can come back and take on Western this second half, and a good crowd here enjoying the football. As I said, there's tremendous atmosphere here, of course, at Lang Park, and this crowd making themselves heard. And during the halftime break, we've seen Shane Perry win the Sun State Player of the Year award for the best player in the Queensland Cup for the year. Shane Perry from Logan City. being presented there with the
Thanks
Sun
very
State
much, Ashley.
Player of the Year award.
Yes,
He
a
also
trip or
won
two
the
to
Courier
Hawaii.
Mail Best and Fairest award for the best player among the Brisbane clubs. So no doubting that Shane Perry has been the best footballer in the Queensland Cup this year. And he is joining Western Sydney next year. And John Rebo's here, brought the family along. Reeves is not at the, he's of course the Melbourne connection with Norths, but John Rebo deciding that this is the place to be rather than watching the Broncos this afternoon. And good luck to him, because I don't think anyone who's here would disagree. Though many people would like to be in both places. Brisbane Grand Finals. It's been a fine day of football here in the Colts. It was Norths defeating Brothers by 44 points to 20. And in the A grade, a very exciting finish with Wynnum tipping Norths 24-22. Norths in all three Grand Finals. Will they go on to come from behind and win the Queensland Cup Grand Final? Remains to be seen, but they've got 1 out of 2 so far. Full credit to the club for having 3 teams in all the Grand Finals today. But look at that crowd, David. Great atmosphere down there, isn't it?
Yeah, excellent atmosphere. We, of course, are shooting across to the far side of the ground, which is actually closed, so you don't get an indication of the number of people are here. But there's a good indication, and they've been very vocal. And it's great to see the parochial support for the local clubs. And it's been a while since Norths have enjoyed this sort of prominence, and they're lapping it up. And the Panthers have got their noses in front. Can they keep them there? Of course, as we've said, they played all the final matches, all 5. This is their 5th game in the last 4 weeks. On the other hand, the Devils, this is only their 3rd, so they should have fresh legs. Can they string together the plays to keep them in this match?
West leading by 10 points going into the second half of the 1998 Grand Final of the Queensland Cup. And the ball in the hands of Norths, bringing it back strongly. It's Norths' last Grand Final appearance was 1989 under coach Tommy Rodonicus against Valleys, but their last win was in 1980 when Graham Lowe was the coach. And Mark Murray, who's coach today, was captain of Norths that day. And Mark Murray is down on the sideline with Gavin Payne.
Yeah, thanks. Mark, your guys have spent probably twice as much time in the opposition half as Western Suburbs. However, your inability to complete the sets must be causing you some concerns.
Yeah, we've been a little impatient there. They're defending very well, and that means we've got to be more patient. But we are forcing the football a little. We got behind on the scoreboard, and that put a little bit of pressure on our thought process out there. We just need to relax on that, spend more time in possession, and work for the points.
Having said that, Mark, you've played this way all year, so I guess you've got to continue to go that way as you have in previous matches.
Yeah, we're not changing anything, Gav. We just need to be a bit more patient, and I think we've got to pick up our defensive tempo. Their defence is very strong, and that caught us by surprise a little bit out there in that first half.
By the same token, though, by keeping that ball alive, and when you are able to, it must be going to make the West defence tired. Do you feel that with their tough run through, this will be an advantage?
If we can get them to that point, we've got to be patient early enough to work them to that point, and then if they do start to feel the pinch and drop off a little bit defensively, then we can play ball.
Thanks very much, Mark. All the best for the remainder of the game.
Thanks, Gavin.
And we saw Dave Aspin losing the ball for West, and Norths have it 30 metres out with Andrew Hamilton. Plays it back to Williams. Now it's Fenton. Wade Fenton tries to lead with the hip and bump them off, but they hold him. 20 out. Still a couple of tackles to go. It's Carmichael, who's been dangerous all day, weaving and trying to set them up on the outside. But Rob Campbell forces him back. Needs to release him quickly. Hamilton puts the kick ahead, and it's on the ground. West have got it.
Knocked on. Dragged forward, I think, by Jason Twist. As the ball was going past him, he just snatched at it, which he had to do. And I do believe at that moment, just for the split second, it was Twist. Just blocked the kick. And
I disagree, David. Looking at the replay, I think that was fairly gathered. It was knocked back. I know it's a bad angle to be judging, but to me it looked like it was knocked back from Twist and gathered in safely by the other West player.
It's certainly given the Devils a great opportunity to go on with the job. Scrum in this situation. They decide to go to the right, out there through Bell. This time O'Dwyer throws the dummy. They didn't seem to really have anything positive there. It was just pass, and let's see what happens. He's lost that, Cole. Well, I think this is another controversial situation. Wayne Treleaven on the touchline, but we will wait for a moment before we talk with Wayne, because I'm sure he'll want to concentrate on this passage of play. Let's have another look just to see as Norths also take the tap. I thought he lost that cold as he struggled to get to his feet. Let's see what the Devils can do from here. Carmichael, the dummy, back on the inside. No, the dummy again by Williams. So they've stacked him in the middle of the ruck. He's been dragged along. You may as well let him go. You'll drag him over the try line. Dummy, go forward. He's over the line. It's a try. Dale Williams, no bonus. I think it's Anthony Bonus, the big man. Well, for some reason, the Panthers dragged the first tackler so close to the try line that all they had to do was play it a half a metre out, or not even that, a half a foot out in the old terms, and Bonus then could just dive forward. It was quite amazing. This is the big fellow, Anthony Bonus. Well, he just slams it down. No one at home there for the Panthers. But what do you think preceding that, Warren, the way they dragged him towards the try line?
Well, I was watching Rob Campbell, who seemed to be complaining that he'd been bitten. And then, of course, the try overtook that, and both of them forgot all about that. But, yeah, I don't know, David. I still think it was, well, from my view, it wasn't the correct decision on the knock-on against Jason Twist, which led to the whole process. And there was a lot of controversy, little by little, in this try. There's no disputing the fact that Bonus has dived over and planted the ball for a try. John Wilshere close to the post and adds 2 more points. So North starting to claw their way well and truly right back into this contest. They're in touch with West now. 16 points to 12 to the Panthers.
8 for 11 down here. Not the ideal start to the second half that he would have wanted as Bonus just makes his way through. Obviously, Wayne, how are the boys feeling at half-time?
Yeah, they're pretty good, Gav. I mean, and we realise we've got a lot of work to do yet before we can win this game, and you've got to respect the opposition, and that's what happens to you. But, you know, my blokes haven't given in over the last month, so we'll hang in, mate.
You only had very limited time in the opposition half in the first half, but took great advantage of that. You appear to be very organised in attack. Is that an area you've worked particularly hard at?
Yeah, when you've got Twist and Bowen out there calling the shots, mate, it's pretty easy. As we know, you need a good halfback and a good 5'8" to get you around the paddock. And it's all going well at the moment.
Right, I won't hold you up any longer. I'll wish you all the best for the remainder of the match and catch up with you for a bit.
Thanks, Gav.
Well, another call goes North's way, but gee, that was a tough one. It was close. Frame was going over the sideline, threw the ball back inside just as he went over the line, and then there were hands grabbing for the ball. It was like a ping pong ball up there in the air, or a volleyball in the air, and away goes North for O'Dwyer. Halfway through, up to the 10 he goes. The West defence really being tested now. They go to the left through Hamilton, onto Hubbard, and Hubbard is held. It was just held up for a moment. Too many players calling for the ball. The dummy half wasn't sure. Hamilton goes again to Williams. He pushes away once again. He's always difficult to take first up, Dale Williams. But they get him at the second attempt. Couldn't really find a runner. Just 6 metres out. It's O'Dwyer. The pass was behind him. But he feeds it on well to Bell, and Bell's strong. Pass behind O'Dwyer, and Devlin's got it for Wests.
Great work from the Panthers. They've hung on there and hung on to make sure that they showed some real desperation, because North was starting to get the steamroller out. They were making breaks on almost every occasion. I thought Dale Williams, after his initial bumping run, had a chance to spread the attack and didn't. Essential now the Panthers use this set of 6, work it away from their try line.
David Fuller. Well, Peter Liddell it is for West. I noticed Dave Ashbon leaving the field again. I don't think he's 100% as David Liddell comes on to take his place. Twist to Bowen. And running it, getting into trouble on the last, and a desperate kick downfield from Fuller in the end. Picked up by Paul Hubbard. He's lost it on the first. As he went into Whelan's tackle, the ball spewed out in front of him. And West have it, and don't they need it at the moment. West a little rattled, but that possession will help as David Liddell straightens it up to the halfway. Jason Campbell into dummy half. The game really in the balance at the moment. 16 points to 12. West's ahead, but you have the feeling that right now is where someone is going to get on top and go on to win it. Rob Campbell. Neither side can afford a slip-up right here. Campbell up to Twist. Wrapping around Bowen. Inside it comes to Peter Liddell. He shovels it onto Fuller. David Liddell. Rob Campbell. Bell gets hold of him. He keeps it going to Whelan. And Whelan's swinging around on the ground. 25 out. Fuller. Wide pass to Twist. They've got men out wide here. Bowen with Craig Smith now. Smith has Scott Williamson. He's a wow. No, he can't get away. Great tackle 8 metres out.
Matty ducks.
Now Bowen to Twist. He puts the kick ahead. Jason Campbell comes through. Hubbard dives into the field of play. And that could save the day.
Well, he saved the day there. Of course, he was the one who spilt the ball on the previous first tackle, so there was a lot of pressure on Hubbard to recover. Prothero loses it and gone backwards, picked up on the run by Johnny Wilshere. Wasn't 6 to go, but they'll be very grateful just to retain possession, the Devils. Number of balls going on the ground. Daniel Frame hit heavily by Campbell. Across the shoulder, says Tony Maxsood. Up the blind side through Hamilton. Hamilton, an underarm pass up there to Hubbard. Hubbard's been dangerous, can't get away from a tackle there from Dave Fuller. Dave Fuller's made a couple of really important tackles today that had he not made them, they would have gone on the outside. Daniel Frame, a huge kick out on the full. Well, you can really pay the price in games like this for errors like that. The crowd to their feet. This could be a terrific chance for the Panthers to hit back after they've been stung by the second half try by the Devils.
Both sides going up a notch here early in the second half. Game of possession at the moment, and West in good shape.
Real good shape, territory and possession. Whelan, strong, hits the line, takes the tackle, rolls them back a touch. This fellow will roll them back a bit further as well. Dave Liddell, good low tackle also there by Daniel Frame. Up to Twist, out here to Bowen, throws the dummy, looks for support in Devlin. Defence read it beautifully as he came across from inside out. Jason Campbell to Bowen, up to Whelan. Kenny works some magic. Alan Whelan back there. That's touch. Play on and knocked forward because it went through the hands of the Devils. That's a correct decision as Whelan tried to get that magic pass back on the inside. One of the Devils support players touches it. There it is, and therefore, as it went past Fenton, it's classed as going forward. This is a terrific opportunity for the Panthers. They've got some great moves from the base of the scrum.
Twist has it, just 10 metres out. Bowen standing wide. He's got Craig Smith with him. He goes himself, Bowen, and cut down by O'Dwyer. Great tackle.
Wasn't allowed to play it. Got to be a penalty. Got to be a penalty, and they lead by 6. They should take the 2 here.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to do.
But I don't think they're going to. Worth another look. There was a great grass-cutting tackle there by O'Dwyer. He flicked him a second time. Yes, they're going to take 2 now after a bit of deliberation.
They're leading by 4 now, and this will make it 6.
Sorry.
And that just gives them a little bit of breathing space if Devlin can land this. I just wonder whether or not it went through referee Maxsood's mind that Craig O'Dwyer going on with the tackle there. Was it a professional foul? Because West right on the attack, but can certainly we wouldn't argue with his decision to leave North with 12 men on the field. But you start to flirt with going down to 12 men if you make extra tackles like that, late tackles.
Great tackle, as you say, Warren. Craig Bowen now starting to probe on the outside there and trying to get the 2-on-1 to get the overlap for their winger into the corner, but O'Dwyer with a magnificent tackle came to the rescue on that occasion.
Haven't there been some good cover defending tackles today, Gav? You know, one-on-one and guys going low and just making the tackle they had to make.
Just that desperation, isn't it? Just, you can feel it coming from the field. It's a fantastic game of football. Both sides not prepared to give an inch, but a wide open game as well at the same time.
Tony Devlin moves into it, but he's missed. Tony Devlin misses. He hasn't missed very many in the last few weeks.
Deadly Devlin has missed, I think, a couple now today. That wasn't an easy one. And when I said I thought there was 6 points in front, of course there wasn't. It was 16-12. I wonder whether the decision, and I'm trying to be smart enough the event here, that 4 points up, perhaps what it would have gone for the big points. Let's see whether or not they can go on with the job again, the Panthers.
Oh, and the ball bouncing around, and Rob Campbell will be caught on his 30 when they could well have been 10 metres further downfield. It's amazing that it's only 5 minutes ago that West were right on their own line tackling to save themselves because Norths were on the attack, and suddenly it switched around the other way with West on the attack. So this game well and truly in the balance as Alan Whelan drives up towards halfway. Jason Campbell switches it late to Bowen on the blind. But there's plenty of defence there, and he runs into trouble. It's Jason Campbell, one wide, twist. Rob Campbell hands it off, but the defence read it, and Peter Liddell has crashed to ground.
Appeal for a high tackle there too from Prothero.
He's ducking into it. Jason Twist puts it up high in centre field. David Liddell coming through on Hubbard, and Hubbard darts away from 1, away from 2. He's sharp on his feet and safe under the bomb.
Yeah, apart from that one blemish, Paul Hubbard's had a great game.
Not the best kick by Twist of the game either. Could have been a little higher. Well, Bell runs into Whelan. 12 short of halfway. Carmichael goes himself. The forward's just hanging back a little that time from West. Now Rua. Matt Rua gives it to Ducks. And well tackled by Williamson right around the ankles. 5th tackle, 40 metres out. And up it goes from Hamilton. This is high. Coming down on top of Williamson. He's taken it well. Gee, I thought he'd lost it for a moment. Had his back to the play, but took it safely.
End up a brilliant take that there by Scott Williamson. A good break also from Craig Smith. The strength of the Panthers is keeping them into it. Look at this. That's a terrific take as it went back over his shoulder. He lost it for a moment. Up to Sean Valentine. He breaks another tackle. The two big centres for the Panthers making breaks on either side of the field. Jason Campbell, little goose step, but Wilshere follows him up to make the tackle. Players running in all directions here for the Panthers. A long pass from Twist out to Bowen. Bowen tries to cut across the face, and again, another great grass-cutting tackle. Craig Smith, a quick pass up to Twist, and a very hurried kick. And Wilshere with a little bit of room to move, comes forward, tries to step, and Maguire stands his ground with the assistance of Valentine to drive him back.
I was just noticing that we haven't seen much of Joel Toohill, and he just comes back onto the field now, but with his right knee heavily strapped and hobbling.
The Devils in possession. They trail by 4. Ryan Gundry juggles and regains just. Must have only just grabbed that as he was going to ground. Carmichael moves forward, back on the inside. Nice little pass up there to Matt Rua. The West defence has been strong though. Craig O'Dwyer goes from right to left. Hamilton throws the dummy. The West defence are having none of it. They came up and cut down on his time. That's the 5th tackle. Down a blind side goes Dale Williams, throws a few dummies, loses it forward. Dale Williams has perhaps run just a pace too far a few times today. After making that initial break, you really should look for the next opportunity around you. He's continued to search himself. Now the Panthers to bring it out of their own territory. Every second vital in this grand final of 1998. But the Panthers clinging to their 4-point lead. Dave Liddell. They're finding it a little bit harder to get out of their own territory. As we've said, they've had the hard road to the grand final. Bob Campbell makes that road a little bit easier with a good 10-metre run up to Twist. And that's a better kick to get the angle. Hubbard's got it pretty well covered. They'll try and trap him well down in his own territory. Hubbard's going to use his pace, tries to get on the outside, but Sean Valentine, not bad for a back rower converted to the centres. Wilshere runs too close to the markers and pops it back. That's dangerous. And knock on. Well, the two wingers trying to link up. Wilshere, I think, made the initial mistake by running too close to the marker, got trapped, was frustrated through that, and therefore thought, well, maybe I can offload this. And he was being flung around at the time. Ducks went over his shoulder. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah, probably a pretty tough call that it went forward. There's the handling errors. North's 11, West 7. And Sean Valentine, playing in the centres, has made 20 tackles. And here's West, 20 metres out. Played slowly in the end by Smith. Now Falafi. And Toohill has left the field again. He was only out there 2 minutes. He's not got many minutes left in him. Is Rob Campbell galloping 8 metres out, well tackled by Hamilton. Twist comes across field. Hunting gives it to Whelan. Whelan getting more and more involved as the game goes on. Campbell, Fuller, and he's just short. Hit hard by Rua. It's the 5th tackle now. Campbell to Twist. Twist gets the arms over the top. He's lost it, and this time the intercept goes the other way. It's North's ball.
Well, 2 players got in there. Gundry was the one who got a hold of the ball, but no doubt Twist was trying to offload. Here goes Matt Geyer, the try scorer from the first half, but he can't get right onto the outside fringe. Wilshere this time still steps back into the markers. That amazes me. If you've got the pace of this guy, the thing you got to do is scoot away, just like Matt Brewer did there. And he gets at least 8 metres upfield.
David, just getting back to Toohill, you mentioned before the game that Wayne Treleaven will be looking to use the interchange. Well, it looks like he's virtually one man down now.
Toohill injured. Warren, is he out of play?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play much more in the game. He's really hobbling, and he was only out there for 2 minutes at his last.
Play on, Hamilton. couldn't look on the outside. Long passes to go. Beautifully up to Gundry. Bit of pace, finds it out to Williams. Don't go too far this time. Prego Dwyer, out to Geyer. That guy for the corner. The Devils are in. They squared it up at 16 all. A fantastic try with initially started from Andrew Hamilton. Broke down the right-hand side, got out of the tackle, got back up again. He was allowed to run, and then every player did the right thing. They took a pace, looked on the outside, took a pace, looked on the outside, and in the end, Geyer, worth having another look. This is the good work from Hamilton. That was a very important ball. Gundry up the middle. Pass over the top to Dale Williams. Look at that. Just drew the player in. Pass out there to O'Dwyer. Out to Matt Geyer. And he flashes into the corner. Devlin wasn't going to get him. The Devils have kept the ball alive. They've gone from one side of the field to the other. Good work, Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton did particularly well. Gets back to his feet and then picks out a great ball to throw here. The long pass back inside into open spaces where the defence is thin. Ryan Gundry loops it over the top. Dale Williams looms up. They keep it going. O'Dwyer onto Matt Geyer, and Matt Geyer flying for the corner. That's great work, but it would never have happened if not for the brilliant pass from Andrew Hamilton, who got back to his feet and had the presence of mind to realise all the defence was coming his way, and there was space back out on the left. Matt Geyer's second try of the game, and what a beauty it was.
That's a terrific team try, that. And now Ken, the top point scorer in the competition. He's kicked some phenomenal number of goals this year, Johnny Wilshere, in his point scoring spree. And now it all comes down to 103 goals. He would love to make it 104, because this is the GF. This is 16 all. It's 21 minutes to go. Norths have not been in front in this game. They actually trailed 16-0. Can they make it 18-16? Hits it nicely, curving it, got the distance, over! Johnny Wilshere gets the Devils in front for the first time in the match.
When the big games get tight, you look for the big game breakers to step up and make some plays. People like Andrew Hamilton, Dale Williams and Kevin Carmichael for North. And here they put it through the hands beautifully out to Geyer. Everyone, as you say, did exactly what was required. Geyer in the corner. We got a match now.
We certainly have, and the Devils have got the ball. And they bring it back strongly through Bonus. One of the biggest men on the field, Anthony Bonus. Quick play, the ball was a good one. Ruar galloping up the middle, finding good yards. West running backwards to get up to the 10 metres. And now O'Dwyer takes them on. Whelan's got hold of him on the halfway. Prothero, little dummy, but takes them on himself. So they're making good ground here, Melbourne. Dale Williams.
Melbourne?
Oh, Melbourne. Well, the Melbourne affiliate. Norths, 30 metres out on the fifth tackle now. They go left. There's not many men there, and Hamilton puts the kick up. Dux is coming through on Williams, and he's going to challenge. It's knocked back. Whose hands did it come off? It's play on, and 6 more to North. 6 more tackles to North, just 10 metres out. Big call there from Tony Maxud as well. Hands up after the ball from the 2 wingers. 5 metres out. Carmichael ducks under one tackle. Still going. Carmichael. Kevin Carmichael scores. And the referee will rule a try despite the protests of Wests. And that extends the lead as 22-16 kick to come to give Norths an 8-point lead. But Carmichael, who's been mainly trying to set up his supports, this time goes himself, ducking under the tackle there of Dave Asplin. And, oh, there it was. That was what West were complaining about. A bit of a shepherd there as the West player tried to get to Carmichael the second time.
Well, I don't think you can shepherd if you're behind a player backing up, providing you are behind and backing up. I think Valentine's misread that. That's a fair call. And we've seen the genius of the number 7 for the Panthers. And now we see the class of the number 7 for the Devils. Twist has scored 2 in the first half. And Carmichael, who has been threatening to do exactly that. There were plenty of defenders there. The ducking action got him through the defensive line. And I believe there was no obstruction. You cannot obstruct if you are merely supporting the ball carrier. You can only obstruct from in front. Wilshere knocks it over, and the Devils extend their lead.
I believe the correct decision from referee Maxud there to give 6 to go to North out on the far side. West never really recovered. Carmichael just bops his head down low, through a couple of half-hearted or ineffective tackles. Dave Liddell had the last go at him, couldn't hold him, and he's under the sticks.
Well, North took a long time to get in front, but they immediately ram it home and lead by 8. And we've got 17 minutes to go in the grand final. If West are going to get back into it, they need to stiffen up their defence now. We saw in the lead up to that try that North were making plenty of ground. And here they go again through Prothero. Asplin comes in hard on Prothero, trying to get to him very quickly, 10 short of halfway. It's Fenton battering his way forward. But Roper pushes him back. David Liddell underneath. Now it comes to Frame. He's got no support on the inside, and Asplin's after him. Dave Asplin, who missed the tackle.
Lost it. Oh, he's going to call it pulled out. Well, that's interesting. I thought Frame was not really in control of the ball there. There were plenty of players crawling all over him. Let's have another look. There's always going to be an awkward one. There's a hand on the ball, no doubt. And I think it was the big fellow in Dave Asplin caught on this blind side. He spotted it.
It's touch and go with those decisions, though, David, isn't it? I mean, he only had his hand on the ball for a brief second, and that's enough for the touch judge to give North a very important penalty.
Well, you're right, because a lot of times, Gav, I mean, the guy actually trying to drag himself away can actually, by that action, dislodge the football himself.
I'm not convinced they don't drop it on purpose, David.
Yeah, there's plenty of that goes on as well. Williams up to Carmichael.
Carmichael dangerous again, halfway through the gap. He gets a pass out late. O'Dwyer following him through. Does well. These two halves working well. O'Dwyer and Carmichael. Now Dale Williams goes across field. Can he link up? Pushes off 2. Goes again himself. Does it repeatedly. This Crabwire's running, but pushes off tackles just a couple of metres out. Fenton goes for the line himself. Very strong. Held by 3. Last tackle coming up for North. West can't afford to let them score here. Williams fires it to the left. Carmichael stabs it in. Will it go dead? It does. Cool work by Tony Devlin at full back there for West. He couldn't afford to touch that.
Yeah, that was a big play that the Devils wanted that to sit, to keep the pressure on. I don't believe the Panthers could have held them out with another set there, and Devlin hoping it would just sit. The difference there, when Alfie Langer puts those in, he doesn't roll them end on end. He just lets them skid and sit. And you've really got to have a look at the technique there from that close to the line. You don't want the ball to roll on. Don't kick over the top of the ball. And the Panthers, fatigue potentially setting in there. The stat says 30 missed tackles. The strength of North over some fatigue from the Panthers. Bowen off Campbell.
Rob Campbell standing on the right now. He's just had a break, so he's relatively fresh. Here he goes, up the blind side, hard, running at Geyer.
That's the 5th tackle. Twist is the first receiver, and he's wide. Hoists it into the air, but I'd say Wilshire's going to have this one for breakfast. Not a problem. Johnny Wilshire, stay away from the touchline. He just manages to do so. Steve Bell pops the pass up nicely to Daniel Frame. Nice little step there, but couldn't get away from Cameron Roper, and over the top, Dave Liddell. Wilshire dummy half. Up this time to Hubbard. Breaks another tackle as he's done today. Ducks under another one just as well he did. Liddell chasing him, finally gets a hold of him. Paul Hubbard complains to any official that'll look at him, but neither was. And Anthony Bonus now keeps it going forward.
Williams running just short of halfway to Carmichael. Sees a split up the middle. He's away again. Kevin Carmichael playing the house down in the second half. 22 metres out. 1 tackle to go. West thin on the left. Norths go that way, but they haven't got too many numbers there either. O'Dwyer kicks ahead. Williamson reads it well, and he's got hold of it well. Scott Williamson safe that time.
Nice work by the kid. He realised that he couldn't afford to let that ball bounce. O'Dwyer chips it over the top nicely. As Warren called it, the Panthers were thin on that side, as were the Devils, and the kick was a good option, and Williamson did well to drop back and get it on the full and save the day.
One thing North have done in this game, their long kicking game through Twist has been pretty good, but I don't think their bombs have been much chopped. Haven't put much pressure at all on Norths.
This time Campbell stands in the tackle, decides not to try and offload. No sense putting chancing passes this far down. This is the 5th tackle. Twist angles it across. Ducks has got it pretty well covered, and he'll pick it up on the 20-metre line.
David, do you think West, with their tough run in, starting to feel a pinch at the moment? Do you think they've got the legs in them to maybe get back at least 1 and possibly 2 tries?
Here goes Matt Dyer. That might be the answer. He comes to the fullback, Devlin. Devlin's got it by a foot. And not for the first time, a try-saving tackle from Tony Devlin. But here comes Matt Rua. Look at him go. 10 metres out. North.
They're shot the Panthers.
North's rolling at home here. It's Hubbard. 5 out, darting and weaving. Maybe should have let it go because West very thin out this side.
Thin, they've only got one this side of the post. And Bob Campbell, now they've lost the ball. That was the break the Panthers needed. As you say, Gav, they appear to be out on their feet. But it's amazing what you can find in a grand final as long as you're still in touch on the scoreboard.
Gee, they just keep bobbing up, West, don't they? A fantastic tackle there from Devlin on a runaway Matt Guy. You know, it's they've got great spirit out there, as everybody knows, around Brisbane town, and it's certainly coming to the fore at the moment.
That tackle by Tony Devlin. I mean, Guy would beat him, I reckon, over 100 metres. No offence to Tony Devlin, but I reckon he'd beat him by a fair way. But Devlin, here he is now, Tony Devlin. Can't get through, and it took a jersey grab by his opposite number in Hubbard to drag him down. Valentine gets it almost up to the 30. Possession oh so important now. The Panthers must control the ball. They can't afford to play the remaining 11 and a half minutes without perhaps more than their share of the ball. Campbell, a beautiful pass up there to Tony Devlin. He's getting more involved now. Moving on the outside, there's Twist. Out there to Falafi. Falafi tries to go across the face to Craig Smith. Brushes out at one. Keep it alive. Keep it alive, Falafi. To Campbell to Twist. Out there to Liddell, up to Campbell. Good defence from North. They seem to have it covered. Dave Fuller to Campbell. Campbell gets caught from the blind side. That was a good tackle, that from, I think, Ricky Paul. Again, a fresh man. Twist on the last tackle. Puts it high into the air. Ducks and Hubbard. Hubbard it is. A very positive call from Paul Hubbard. And he has been positive today.
I think it might come down to West relying on a bit of individual brilliance, perhaps from Jason Twist, Craig Bowen or the like, to get them a step closer to North in these last 10 minutes.
It does look like Norths are a little stronger at the moment, but West going all right when they've got the ball. It's in defence that they become a little ragged. Here they are, trying to cut them down and get hold of Gundry. Now, it's not Ducks this time. That's who is that's come out on the field. We'll get back to him on the halfway anyway. Prothero now. It's Tristan Brady-Smith out there in the headgear. Just come on for Norths. And he is a flyer, should he get free. Fifth tackle, Carmichael. Kick straight to Devlin. Well positioned, Tony Devlin. He's had a very strong game. Done everything right. Now Maguire. He should have a bit left in his tank, but he can't get away from them. Jason Campbell arrives to Fuller, to Rob Campbell. And he can't get free this time. You see him trying to unload a few balls as the game gets into its latter stages. Falafi up the blind side. Good work away. Fuller to play it. Jason Campbell, well, he thinks about the blind. That wasn't the way to go.
This is.
Out to the open to Bowen with numbers. Quickly through the hands to Valentine. He's got Maguire on his outside. Gives it to him now. Maguire comes back inside. Valentine's on his feet. To Devlin. Oh, good tackle by Fenton. Twist looks over the top to Fuller. They're coming from everywhere. That's a great tackle. Play on, though. Just 15 metres out. Fuller has it again. Puts the kick straight into the hands of Rua, and he takes the catch.
Well, what a shame it didn't finish on a high note as it had started. That was a magnificent passage of play from the Panthers. If they can get their fair share of possession in the last 9 minutes or so, they're still capable of capturing the last 6 points. But they must. He's lost it. Lost it backwards. Play on. This is Tristan Brady-Smith, can't get away. Gee, there's been some good one-on-one tackles in cover defence. Ricky Paul to bring it forward. This grand final has not let us down. We've got another one. 3 in a row for the Queensland Cup. Ricky Paul to play it. Pass up this time to Carmichael. Run straight through. Up the middle. Looks for support. Left and right. Carmichael still going. The support overrun him.
And Devlin's done it again.
Tony Devlin makes the tackle. Here's the last one. Move it out this side. Wallies goes for a field goal. Andrew Hamilton. Wallies done it. The Bundaberg kid has whacked it over. That gives them a 7-point lead. And for the second time in a week, we've had a forward Sorry, how many? 9-point lead. Well, a very comfortable lead. And that will really make it harder and harder now for the Panthers.
Yeah, you've got to wonder, David, was a field goal what they required there? I mean, they were on the attack. They could have scored. They could have put them back on their heels once more. 1 point's 1 point, but it's not going to make the difference in the game. A try might have.
Yep, I don't believe it was the right tactic, Warren. With still 7.5 minutes to go, the Panthers could still score twice to win it.
Thought they had an opportunity on the outside then to just put it through the hands with a bit of depth and perhaps really seal the match.
It was Kevin Carmichael started it again with a break down the middle. Now here's Tristan Brady-Smith making the miss. West have missed a lot of tackles. These North players dart, weave, twist and spin. They're just short of halfway. Bonus crashing his way forward. The pass goes behind Hubbard. It's on the ground and Twist picks it up for West. And West need possession with 7 minutes to go if they are going to post a try and get back into the contest. Here's Whelan's now. Last few sets, West have been throwing the passes around and making them stick. This is a good run from Williamson. The winger from the right-hand side injects some speed. Now David Liddell thundering forward. Good running. He's tackled 22 metres out. West marshalling right and left. And it goes to Falafi. He's fairly fresh, Falafi. Pops a pass up and it's intercepted by Frame. There's nobody in front of him. They're giving chase. It's Jason Campbell giving chase. Here they come with Matt Geyer. Frame changes direction again. Forward pass over forward. And it is called forward.
Wow.
The last pass, and that would have been the grand final, wrapped up for North. Geyer just overrunning it and couldn't drop back. But nevertheless, North have gone from one end of the field to the other.
Well, he got himself all mixed up here, Daniel Frame. Great chasing there from Jason Campbell. He just would not say die, something the Panthers have been their catch cry during this semi-final series. And Daniel Frame, after a great intercept, he just couldn't position.
David, I don't know if he couldn't position him or Geyer perhaps should have come inside. I thought all the running was, he was dragging all the defence towards that far sideline. A little inside ball to Geyer, I think you would have found him under the post.
Yeah, you're right. It would have certainly turned him inside out. Now Bowen goes across the face, but the North defence, they're sharp. You can't see them letting the grip go at this stage. They lead by 9.
And Craig Smith, the West centre, has left the field. Falafi now seems to be playing in the centres.
Dave Liddell takes them on. North have managed to get 1 or 2 little intercepts in this second half. Bob Campbell gets the beautiful pass over the top to Whelan. Good defence though there by Stephen Bell.
Whelan had no support.
Dave Liddell up the middle. The Panthers are really feeling the pinch now. It'll take a bit of brilliance. Campbell finds a little bit extra. That's been knocked forward. I think no off the chest, says both officials. So the hands weren't in there. And Rua managed to keep the hands away, and John Wilshere just gets out of dummy half. It's inside the last 5 in the grand final. North were the minor premiers. They also won the pre-season final. It's hard to say they haven't been the best side this year, and they appear now to be going on with the job. Out to Brady Smith, we get beautiful one-on-one tackle again
by Williamson.
The kid's done well there. He's got Geyer, turn it back on the inside. Looks for support. I think that's Hubbard. Yes, he's had a terrific game, Paul Hubbard. He's have a number of the North players. Hubbard slow to get to his feet. The clock ticks down, almost 4 minutes to go. Dar Williams doesn't pop it up. He keeps running as he's done all day. Takes about 4 or 5 metres upfield. That's the 5th tackle. Carmichael's a dummy up. Points right and goes left. Searches, leaves it a one-on-one. Can Brady Smith offload? Yes, he can. That's play on. West have got it. And they have to go whole length of the field. There's 4 minutes to go and they trail by 9. It's almost mission impossible.
They've got to do something desperate here, West. They need a little bit of punch from the forwards and then quickly get it wide. They're going wide early in the count instead. Jason Campbell can't get away, throws it nowhere, and Prothero keeps it on the toe. Should be gathered in. It is by Rua, and Norths have got it back. And that really was silly play. That was panic play. Too much by Jason Campbell. Wasn't on that call, that pass. And instead it's Craig O'Dwyer for the line. And Craig O'Dwyer scores the match-winning try. That settles the grand final. It's all over. North will win it now. They can't be stopped. O'Dwyer with the final blow that wraps it up for the Devils. Makes it 29-16. There's no coming back for West now. And the 5'8" picks up the scraps here and finally takes them on himself. A little bit of a swerve. Got inside and between Asplin and Fuller and scores the try that wraps up the 98 grand final.
Well, Westwood desperate to try and score a long-distance try, pushing the pass. Prothero got a hold of it, and then really the Panthers had not recovered to defend this play. And it can quite often be the little men, the step, the straighten when it's late in the game and you're feeling tired. And you really have to push to get there when you're behind on the scoreboard. Fellas like this, Craig O'Dwyer, with a little bit of individual play, the step to go through the defensive line, and the Devils have done it.
And you mentioned, David, the big men not able to contain the little men. One of them's in defence, Dave Asplin. He was involved in the miss on Carmichael, then again on O'Dwyer. I think he's wounded anyway. He doesn't look to me 100%. He's been quite badly wounded a few times coming into the game and today. And the ball's rolled off the mound. Put that together with the fact that West have had to play week in, week out. I think they have tired, as Gavin's pointed out. And then throw in the fact Toohill has not been able to complete the game, so they just haven't had the 4 men rotating off the benches they would have liked. And I think they've finally run out of gas, the Panthers. But there's no taking anything away from North, who were the minor premiers and have played some fine football. Once the passes started to stick, they were going to be dangerous, and they have been.
Wiltshire now to add the extras and pushes it to the right and hits the upright. Waved away, but it doesn't matter. 29-16 in favour of the Devils.
A couple of very tired, wounded West Warriors here trying to make a tackle. Just ran out of legs, and their tough campaign, no doubt, has come home to cause them some problems. Dwyer slips between a couple of the West forwards there to seal the match.
West haven't given up trying as they try the short kick-off through Whelan. Couldn't regather, and it might be North's instead. Hubbard stretches out, and across comes a great tackle. It was Williamson, who should be on the other wing, but he's on the left wing to make that tackle. Norths go left, right across the field. O'Dwyer opens him up again. He's striding through. He's got Dyer on his left. Cover defence coming at them. But Dyer's in for his 3rd try. A hat-trick in the grand final for Matt Dyer. Well, he hasn't seen a lot of the ball, but every time he has, he leaves them in his wake. Matt Dyer, great speed, great positioning. He could have had a 4th try just a moment or two back. Instead, he makes it 3, and it's 33-16.
Craig O'Dwyer is the one who again breaches the defensive line. From the kick-off it was. West had tried the short kick, and North went on with the job. O'Dwyer through, looked like he could have scored it himself, and back on the inside to Matt Dyer for his hat-trick.
Yeah, David Fuller, who we gave plenty of credit to for some great tackling earlier in the game, just doesn't have the strength and the pace and the energy to get across and make a more effective tackle. They're grabbing at O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer too fast for him on the outside. Dyer there to finish it off, and he celebrates, as will the Devils. A great effort by North in this second half to come from behind. In this Queensland Cup, how often have teams come from behind through the final series? North were trailing 16-6 at half-time, and now they're leading 33-16. The kick from Wiltshire is there. In fact, wasn't Wiltshire in the end who took that kick? Carmichael it was who puts the icing on the cake. 35-16 in favour of Norths, defeating West to take the Queensland Cup Grand Final of 1998. Norths were the minor premiers. They lost only 5 games all season. They've gone straight through the semi, straight into the grand final, and fresh legs and pure skill and determination have prevailed to defeat West here. A gallant West gave it everything they had, led at half-time, led for some time into the second half, and tried their hearts out. Tremendous spirit in the West club, but in the end, the class, the spirit, and just the all-round performance of North coming home strong in the second half to win the grand final, 35-16, a score that probably flatters them a little in so much that West didn't deserve to get beaten by that far, but late tries piled on the points. There's the stats for the full game. Penalties 5-3 to the Devils, the scrums favouring Norths. Overall errors, too many errors, a lot of missed tackles by the Panthers, 53 errors in all to 31 by the Devils. And the tackles relatively even, but West had to make more, and that certainly wore them down. Possession well and truly favouring North. Time in possession, particularly in the opposition half, going their way in the first half as well as the second. Completed sets 31 to 26. You've always got to have those going your way if you're going to win a game, particularly a grand final, and line breaks telling. 11 to 3. So it was really all North statistically, and all importantly when it came to tries, it was the Devils. 6 tries to 3, 5 goals to 2, plus a field goal for good measure. And they finally broke the back of West, charging through the second half. The victorious coach Mark Murray there be very proud of his side and his own efforts, and they will celebrate tonight, the Northern Suburbs Devils. On the other side of the story, dejection for West. The losing team always barely has the energy to stand, and that's why so many of them end up collapsing to the ground. But when you're victorious, you feel fantastic. And let's go down to the man of the match with Gavin Payne.
Kevin, didn't look like things were going to plan early in the first half, or probably for the entire first half, but you just kept sticking to your game plan. Come up trumps?
Yeah, Payne, we knew they'd start out pretty tough. They've been psyching themselves up all week. We knew it was going to be hard the first 20, 25 minutes. I didn't really expect that. 16-0 down, and it's just great, mate. Boys were great.
Undoubted, mate. Euphoric teammates over there beside you. You didn't particularly come into the game till sort of 10, 15 minutes in that second half. Was that a plan at all?
Yeah, mate, I spoke to Muppet before the game, and I thought that I'd been getting involved too early and wasting a bit of my energy, so I thought I'd just lay back a little bit and let the boys do the hard stuff, and then, mate, paid rewards. The yards up there are easy once the forwards get going. It's great.
Certainly was. Terrific games also from most of the guys in the team. Young fullback had a terrific game also, as did all your forwards. Went very well. Who did you see as your other best?
Oh, mate, yeah, Bono had a big game. He bad knee. Matty Geyer, all the boys from Melbourne, they put in. Oh, you can't fault anyone, mate, not after that. First half, there was probably a bit of blame going around, like that kind of a lead at half-time, but no, just everyone, mate, just a great effort.
Congratulations, mate. I'll let you join your teammates.
Just take a day to everyone back home in Dolby, mum and dad, and all the supporters, and North, thanks a lot.
And let's go straight across to David Wright with Mark Murray, the victorious coach.
North's coach, Mark, welcome back to coaching.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. It's great to be back. Probably at the 30-minute mark, I was probably going to doubt that. But no, it was a great effort after that point. Congratulations to West on the way they played. They came out. We expected them to come out, had to weather the storm, so to speak, but they played some great football in that first 25, 30 minutes.
Some excellent tries by them in that time, but you must be very proud of the way the boys hung in there, because West took a couple of chances, but you guys were creating a few, but just weren't going on with the job.
Yeah, we just needed to relax a little bit with our ball play and get our go forward going. And, West tired a little bit. They've had a fairly tough campaign. I think they tired a little bit in that second half, but we were relentless. We went at them in the middle, played the ball quickly and really got a roll going, and they were under the gun for the whole 40 minutes.
Matty Guy's come up with a hat-trick as well, so that's a nice little bonus, wasn't it, for him to come back to your side?
Yeah, Matty's he's showed his wares at the NRL level. We were happy to have him back in the side. He qualified easily for that. He was always going to be a bonus for us if we could get a flow in play, which we couldn't get in the first half. We just had to hang in best we could. And in the second half, when that developed, he and Kevy Carmichael, Craig O'Dwyer, they were terrific.
Congratulations, Mark. Great job. Welcome back to coaching, as I said. Terrific year for the Devils.
Thanks, David.
And let's go down for the presentation ceremony to John McCoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, to make the official presentation of the Queensland Cup for 1998, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the chairman of the Queensland, Australian and International Rugby Leagues, Mr. John McDonald.
Thanks, John. Ladies and gentlemen, what a grand final. There are special events grand finals, and my heartiest congratulations go to North on a very well-deserved victory. To West, unfortunately, it wasn't their day, but congratulations on a fine season. Their performances throughout the years were great to see, and my commiserations go to them today. To Kevin Carmichael and his team, they played magnificent football throughout the semi-finals, and today they were rewarded with a 100% team effort. It was played in two halves, but today it was all North. I'd like to place on record our grateful thanks to all teams who participated this year. It has been a great competition, and we look forward to another successful year next year. To the Brisbane Rugby League, I thank them for their association today. North won the Colts earlier in the day, and they've had a great day. But my congratulations to Kevin, to the team, on a great job. Well done. The final score, 39-16, was a true indication of the result in the second half. to Mark Murray, the coach. Well done, Mark. But today it's to the players of North. So congratulations once again, Kevin.
Thanks very much, John McDonald. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'd like to hear a few words from the victorious North's captain, Kevin Carmichael.
First of all, I'd probably like to thank West for a tough game. They really give it to us in that first half, but our boys showed a lot of courage to stick with it. We had a pattern, we stuck to that game plan, and we come up trumps. Also, all the other teams that participated in the Queensland Cup this year, it was a very hard competition, and any one of the number of sides that made the finals were good enough to go through and win it. Just lucky enough we were, I suppose, good enough. Muppet done a great job, kept our heads in perspective. The board from North, they've looked after us this year. Plenty of free drinks, great spirit there with the Colts and the reserve grade getting through. It's just a great club effort. Also, I'd like to thank all the families of the players, wives, and the Dolby boys, I suppose, too. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Before we present the medallions to all of the North's players, I'm sure you'd like to hear a few words from the Western Suburbs skipper, Craig Bowen. They did a great job, Wests. Lead 16-0. They've had a great season. In the end, the better side won, but they put up a terrific effort. Craig, commiserations. I know you'd like to say a few words.
Yeah, thanks. Just on behalf of West, I'd like to congratulate the Northern Devils. Obviously, their success this year is obvious. They've made all 3 grades, and we congratulate them for that. Just on West's side of things, I'd like to thank our sponsors this year, mainly Coates Hire and all the minor sponsors. With your contributions this year, it's been very helpful, and we look forward to a continued association. To our partners, our family, friends and supporters, by far our best assets. And sorry we stumbled at the last hurdle, but we'll be back next year. Just to our coaching staff and all the players, it's been a terrific year for us. We've played with great determination and courage, and I'm glad they're my mates. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Just before we do make the medallion presentation, our thanks as well to the officials today, to referee Tony Maxsood and to his touch judges Robert Irwin and Rex Little. Ladies and gentlemen, I now call on the North's players to receive their medallions from John McDonald, starting, of course, with the victorious captain, Kevin Carmichael. Fullback, Paul Hubbard. Three quarters, Matthew Dux. Steve Bell. Matt Geyer. Leading point scorer of the season, John Wiltshire. 5'8", Craig O'Dwyer. The forwards, Mark Prothero. Daniel Frame.
Well, the North's boys receiving their medallions, and quite extraordinary, wasn't it? They scored 29 unanswered points, so that wraps it up for 1998. On behalf of David Wright and Gavin Payne today, and through the season, Jerry Collins and Greg Dowling and all our ABC crew, we've enjoyed bringing you the Queensland Cup, and we look forward to your company again next year. It should be another great season of rugby league on ABC television. Congratulations to Norths.